So we all know that there is a lot going on in the world. A lot going on in the world at large, in our personal lives, a lot that's challenging. You know, that's really an understatement. Activist Valarie Kaur reminds us that in the face of horrors visited upon our world daily, the struggle to protect our loved ones, choosing to let in joy is a revolutionary act. And I think that's worth repeating. Choosing to let joy in is a revolutionary act. It returns us to everything that is good and beautiful and worth fighting for. You know, and I want to assure you that making room for joy doesn't cancel out the array of feelings that you may be holding regarding the circumstances of the world. Rather, I think that making room for joy to arrive is a declaration and a reminder that choosing joy is indeed an act of resistance. It's an act that says, despite challenge, despite fear and hurt and confusion, I will not let hardship have the final voice. After all, this joy that we are hasn't been given to us by the events of the world, and the world cannot take it away unless we let it. I think I speak for most of us here that this is a message that we need to hear on a regular basis. And for that very reason, it seemed that it was time to lift this up again. This is a service I gave several years ago, but I know that I need that reminder again and again that joy is mine, love is mine, strength is mine, pride is mine, peace is mine, and the world can't take it away from me. You know, and sometimes I wonder about, well, what is joy really? You know, we've been talking about it today, we've been blowing bubbles about it, we've been singing about it, but what is it really? I think that you probably know it when you feel it. And there's a definition that I came across that described joy as a state of mind and an orientation of the heart. And I really like that idea, an orientation of the heart. Where are you going to orient your focus, your energies in the world? In our time for all ages reminded us that joy doesn't always come when it's called. We can't be talked into feeling joy. Joy doesn't stand by at our beck and call. But the circumstances for evoking joy is something that can be cultivated. And happiness is a very close relative to joy. It tends to be an emotion, though, that is externally triggered. There was a psychologist, Rachel Fernley, said that happiness is generally based upon other people, places, things, thoughts, events that happen outside of ourselves. But joy, on the other hand, comes when we look inside, when we're able to make peace with who we are, why we are, and how we are in the world, despite everything that's swirling around. Making peace with ourselves can be a real process. It does take cultivation, and it takes a conscious choice to orient ourselves in such a way that we are willing to open ourselves to the wonder and goodness that we are, and the wonder and goodness that exists around us, even when the world feels totally upside down. It takes practice to look for those glimmers, the guiding stars in the darkening sky that can spark that sense of joy within us. You know, children know this instinctively, and I think that's why I know why I am gravitating towards children, because they haven't succumbed to this idea that they are not love incarnate, that they are not joy and wonder incarnate. They generally meet the world with openness and delight. And I think when we're around children, even when they get a little bit fussy, it reminds us of our own innate orientation to wonder. because they haven't made that shift yet. They haven't abandoned their inner compass that dictates other concerns of the world. They make room for joy to arrive all the time. As adults, it takes a willingness to leave behind harsh judgments of ourselves and all the expectations of how we should be, how the world should be. I am in the process of making peace with who I am, why I am the person I am, and how I show up in the world. And this process of making peace with myself allows me to extend the gift of grace to others as well. Making peace within myself offers me the opportunity to gain clarity about how I want to respond to the troubles of the world, where and how I want to focus my energy to do my bit in siding with love again and again. I was at the event in Harrisburg yesterday, and I think there I've heard reports of 3,000 to 5,000 people. So people were out. And I thought about a sign that I wanted to make, and I appreciated the whole vast array of signs that were there. There were some that were really pithy and clever, but I thought about what do I want to put out there? And what I put on my sign was, those who love the most are the ones who win. That's what I want to put into the world, and I think each of us get that opportunity to make those decisions for ourselves. We're pressed in pretty hard times right now from a lot of angles, but you all get to decide what orientation you want to take, what you want to put out into the world. And I tend to think that in some mystical way, what we put out is what comes back to us. While joy is not something that can be certain to come when we call, I think it really is contagious. When one person opens themselves up to the expression of joy within their lives, I believe the invitation is made to those around us to do the same. You know, just like the bubbles that we had this morning, that was a simple invitation to feel joy, you know, to see these little sparks, these little glimmers, to make room for wonder, for delight, to make room for joy to arrive. You know, so we're going to have a little experiment right now. We're going to open up the service so that you can call out to joy, just like that man did on the beach, calling out. So I'm going to ask that you take a shot. It might feel a little uncomfortable, but I'm going to invite you to just go for it. I'm just going to say, who would like to be brave enough to shout out what brings you joy right now? And I will repeat it so those at home can hear it. Yeah.
Singing.
Singing brings joy. Friends bring joy. Service brings joy. Yeah.
Millions of people across this country at over 1,000 demonstrations yesterday, and there are many more demonstrations to come.
Okay. Millions and millions of people standing up saying democracy is important and we are going to fight for it. Yeah.
Good health.
Good health is joyful.
The gardens.
The gardens. Yes, spring. Who else wants to shout out their joy today?
Children.
Children, yes. Yeah.
Hat.
Say that again.
Hat.
Hats? Cats. Or maybe hats, but cats.
Hearing aids.
Hearing aids. Yeah. What's that? Community.
Random acts of kindness.
Random acts of kindness. Anybody else want to shout? Driving the Skyline Drive. Reading in silence. Yes. Anybody else want to shout out to joy? My family. And my family, and your family, and your family, and your family. Yes. Yes, being with your dog.
Drumming.
Running.
No, drumming.
Well, running and drumming and hearing aids. Yeah.
Knitters and stitchers. Yeah.
Knitters and stitchers? Coffee.
Celebrating my faith.
Celebrating your faith. Let's a couple more shout outs to Joy.
Daffodils.
Daffodils. There was one over here. Oh, anybody else? Yep. What's that? Grandchildren. Great-grandchildren. Yeah, Betty. UUG. Bubbles. There are so many things. And weird friends, yes. So if you haven't made a public declaration of joy this morning, I invite you to take time, sometime throughout this day, to do your own shout out to joy. And I'm going to leave you with this, another quote from Valarie Kaur. She's somebody who has made a really big impact on the way I want to orient my life. She says, "We can't force joy, but we can make space for it. May we look up at that night sky. May we let joy in. For we will be someone's ancestors one day. Even if you haven't children of your own, you will be an ancestor one day. If we show up with our whole hearts, they will inherit not our fear, but bravery born of joy." And I think that's really important to think about. Oh, we're going to sing. and we will give a shout out to Joy for technical glitches that make us laugh.